Hi everyone, and welcome to a new drawing video. Here, I'll be showing the full coloring process of Motoko Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. So first, I go in by applying a color fill to each of the sections. Typically, I begin with a sketch layer where I do the initial sketch, then I do an ink layer, which is where all the main ink work is done, and I make the ink layer the reference layer. And once it's made as a reference layer, I can quickly go in and drop in the different colors. I typically choose the colors based off the Copic marker number system. For example, the base color of the skin would be YR000, and then for the shading, I would go over it with YR00, basically the next notch up in terms of the values. So one cool idea I had here, which you don't see in the initial sketch, is I decided to add these light rays coming down from above. Since Motoko is looking up, I think that's what spurred the initial idea. And here I created a screen layer, and I went over the background with a lighter gray to give the back wall a more metallic look. And one thing I tried out, as you can see with the light rays, is I changed the blending mode to hard light, and it made the light rays have this cool blue glow, which I thought was a very quintessential Ghost in the Shell look. It basically made the light rays far more vibrant, and I thought worked very well against the background. And the nice thing is you can still make out the background detail of the line work. And so now I've moved on to the shading process, where you can see I'm using what I believe is the Blackburn brush from the drawing section, which I found worked really well for the skin shading. It had a slight taper, but when you go over it, creates a very visible shadow layer. And as you can see, I'm just going around the perimeter of the body. The light's coming down from above her, so the main parts of her body are the base color right now. But then, as you can see, I'm going over the clavicle and the shoulders and the neckline. All that, I think, works very well for the shading. This illustration is very clearly inspired by the Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex version of Motoko, which I feel like is a good balance in terms of the more serious side that we see in the 1995 film, as well as the slightly more playful side that we see in the manga. I like the Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex design in Motoko because it has a very confident look. It's clean and precise, just as Motoko is in how she goes about her detective work. With the face, I don't like to overdo it with the shading, but I tend to go around the edges of the face, like the side, the nose, under the hair. And here I created a hard light layer and began doing the highlights with a soft airbrush. As you can see with the shading here, I created a new layer over my initial shading and set the blend mode to pin light. And I took a very dark orange, which you can see I have selected in the top right corner of my iPad, and I thought this gave it a really nice vibrant shading look. It gives it that old anime cell shading look, which is what I was going for. It makes it more vibrant. I never tried the pin light method with shading before, but I think I might keep that as a way to get the initial shading done from now on. I should mention I'm very excited for the upcoming anime by Science Saru. Coming out this July is a brand new Ghost in the Shell anime, and what I'm most excited about that one is it looks like it's the first true adaptation of the manga version. In most of the adaptations, we sort of lost the more playful, goofy personality of Motoko, and it looks like we're finally going to get that in this new one. And there is my finished artwork of Motoko Kusanagi. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and if you'd like to purchase any of my books or art merchandise, please visit the links below in the description.